unusual, but it's a little abnormal. Like, it's not every year it does this. So my skin's just dry from like having an allergic reaction on my neck, and my sweater was itching it, but I don't want to take my sweater off because it's freezing out. So I know my neck is red is basically what I'm saying, and I don't need you to tell me. Like, I'm well aware. Anyway, today we're doing 50 facts about horror films, horror movies, scary movies, whatever. Links will be down below, and let me know what other fact videos we should do in November. I was gonna do one. I don't know if I want to do one at Thanksgiving because I already had Thanksgiving in Canada on the 11th of October, so it just seems silly to me. But yeah, let me know, and let's just get into it. I have my laptop over here, so if I'm looking in this direction, that is why. Okay, so number one. The classic 1978 horror film Halloween can be easily recognized in just one image. The psychotic Michael Myers in this iconic pale-faced mask. Without a doubt, it's one chilling look that has struck terror into the hearts of partying teens in slasher flicks. The movie was actually filmed on such a tight budget that the crew used the cheapest mask they could find, a $2 Star Trek Captain James Kirk mask. They spray painted it white and reshaped the eye holes, making William Shatner look incredibly creepy. Also, before I continue, I haven't seen all of the movies that I have facts about. I've only recently gotten into horror, scary, drama. I'm more into thrillers in comparison. I have a lot of existential anxiety, so I can't really get myself going. But I've recently gotten into the genre, so not all of these I'm gonna know what I'm saying. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know any better. Anyway, number two. The blockbuster movie Halloween was filmed in just 21 days. Number three, the movie Halloween was originally titled Babysitter Murders. Number four, oh my god, the first four are literally about Halloween. And it's one of the only ones out of all of these that I've actually seen is Halloween. I watched it at a sleepover when I was 13 years old, but I kind of just sat in the corner and ate candy instead of watching the movie, but I know the gist of it. Anyway, number four, the sounds of stabbing in the Halloween movie is made by a knife being plunged into a watermelon. Yeah, that's a typical sound in Saskatchewan, if you know what I'm talking about. Number five, The Exorcist was the first horror film to be nominated for a Best Picture Oscar. Number six, Psycho is the first American film to feature a toilet, in addition to being the first American film to show a toilet on screen. Oh, the horror. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is also the first American film in which we hear a toilet being flushed. That's just how repressed Americans were in the 1950s. That's crazy. Who cares? It's a toilet. Number seven. Wes Craven reportedly planned to have a stuntman play the seemingly immortal youth hater known as Freddy Krueger, but wisely opted to go with an accomplished actor for the role instead. His first choice was the brilliant British actor David Warner, who you'll no doubt recognize from Time Bandits, Titanic, and various incarnations of Star Trek. Warner had to pass on the project, which opened the door for the truly excellent Robert Englund. Number eight. Stephen King wasn't a fan of The Shining. In 1983, Stephen King told Playboy, "I'd admired Stanley Kubrick for a long time and had great expectations for the project. Parts of the film were chilling, charged with a relentlessly claustrophobic terror. But others fell flat. King didn't like the casting of Jack Nicholson either, claiming Jack Nicholson, though a fine actor, was all wrong for the part. His last big role had been in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and between that and the Magnet Grin, the audience automatically identified him as a loony from the first scene. But the book is about Jack Torrance's gradual descent into madness through the malign influence of the Overlook. If the guy is nuts to begin with, tragedy of his downfall is wasted. You know what, Stephen? You have a point. I'm sorry. Number 9. Jack Nicholson had worked as a volunteer firefighter, so when he tore down the bathroom door in The Shining, he decimated the prop door too easily and had to use a real one. That's funny. I'm sorry. Is it funny? I don't know. Number 10. Jaws doesn't fully appear in a shot until 1 hour and 20 minutes into the movie. While the lack of shark appearances works to heighten the tension in Jaws, the real reason the shark isn't shown in full is because the mechanical shark was built. The mechanical shark that was built rarely worked during filming. Director Steven Spielberg had to create inventive ways to shoot around the non-functional movie shark. I watched Jaws when I was in 12th grade, so 6 years ago, and it's not good, in my opinion. Like, maybe when it came out, it was so much better, but it's just, like, there's so much just waiting for something to happen. I'm sorry, I shouldn't talk trash about Jaws. It's just not my favorite movie, and that's okay. Number 11. Fay Wray, though she'd been starring opposite Cary Grant in King Kong. Oh no, Fay Wray thought she'd be starring opposite Cary Grant in King Kong. In his attempts to entice Fay into starring in King Kong, director Moraine Cooper promised, "You're going to have the tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood." Well, my thoughts were flying toward the hope that Cooper might be waiting for Cary's arrival, just as I was. Cooper went on to point at the giant ape and say again, "The tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood." Fay Wray recalled. Oh my god, but he wasn't lying, so. Number 12. It took 7 years to get Aliens made. Why did it take 7 years to get the sequel made? Lawyers and money, of course. Talk of a sequel began shortly after the original Alien 1979 was a hit, but it was delayed because of a dispute between the film's producers and 20th Century Fox over the distribution of the original movie's profits. Fox, reluctant to make a sequel because it would be expensive, finally agreed to it as a way of settling the beef with the producers. Basically, we won't give you any more of the first movie's profits, but we'll greenlight a sequel. You can make money from that. Amusingly, the same producers, plus James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd, sued Fox again after Aliens, claiming the studio had used creative accounting techniques to avoid paying them. Good for them. Number 13. Brian De Palma didn't see Sissy Spacek as Carrie. Though Brian De Palma was a fan of Sissy Spacek's work, he was convinced that he had found a case Carrie in another actress. His decision to let Spacek audition at all was mostly out of courtesy of her husband, Jack Fisk, the film's art director. He told me that if I wanted to, I could try out for the part of Carrie White, Spacek recounted to Rolling Stone. There was another girl that he was set on, and unless he was really surprised, she was the one. I hung up and decided to go for it. Spacek showed up to her audition in an old dress she hadn't worn since grade school, and with her hair slicked back with Vaseline. When she was done, she waited in the parking lot while her husband reviewed her audition with the rest of the production team. After Fisk came out to tell her that the part was hers, they sped off before anybody could change their minds. Number 14. It took only 8 days to film the Blair Witch Project. Only 8 days to film the Blair Witch Project. Number 15. You've likely heard of Ed Gein. No, I have not, but whatever. His House of Horrors made headlines for years after he was sent to a mental hospital for his actions. They were so memorable, in fact, that he inspired some of the most iconic thrillers of all time: Psycho, The Silence of the Lambs, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Among the items discovered at his Plainfield, Wisconsin farm were 4 noses, 9 masks made out of human skin, numerous decapitated heads, lampshades and bowls made of skin. Lips were being used as a pull on a window shade, and a belt made from nibbles. Oh my god. Gein gained thing, often referred to as the chest jump, occurs when Dr. Cooper attempts to revive Norris with a defibrillator. As he presses the paddles to his patient's skin, Norris's chest opens up and Cooper's forearms disappear into the cavity where they were severed below the elbow by a set of jaws inside Norris's chest. In order to pull this off, special makeup effects designer Rob Botton found a man who had lost both of his arms below the elbow in an industrial accident. Botton fit the man with two prosthetic forearms consisting of wax bones, rubber veins, and jello. Then, for the wide-angle shot, he fit the man with a skin-like mask taken from a mold of Dysart's face, and placed the Ezrat's arms into the chest cavity where a set of mechanical jaws clamped down on them. As the actor pulled his arms away, the jello arms severed below the elbows. The rest is practical effects history. I love that. That's so cool. I love SFX is so fun, in my opinion. It's so cool for me. I prefer to understand how they did it, and then I'm not scared. You know? I'm just saying, I have an overactive imagination. Although, it's weird that I do, because I can't see things in my head. I have aphantasia, so it's just black up in here, but yet I have a super overactive imagination. I'm not imagining, picturing things, but I'm just thinking about different scenarios, and I can really freak myself out. Anyway, let's move on. Number 18. The original ending of Fright Night was much different. The film's original ending saw Peter Vincent transform into a vampire while hosting Fright Night in front of a live television audience. Number 19. The stars of the Blair Witch Project used GPS trackers to find their instructions for the day. Production programmed weight points in the GPS unit for the actors to locate milk crates with 3 little plastic canisters in them. Each plastic canister contained notes on where the story was going for each actor, who would not show the other 2 their paper. From that point, they were free to improvise the dialogue, provided they followed the general instructions given to them. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Number 20. Rather than risk-breaking continuity. Sissy Spacek slept in bloody clothes for 3 days while filming the prom scene in Gary. Now that's commitment to your craft. Literally, could not be me. Number 21. Paranormal, the most profitable films of all time, often compared to the Blair Witch Project because of its low-budget nature and huge grosses. 10 years after the Blair Witch Project's release, the original Paranormal Activity ousted the earlier horror film as the most profitable movie. Based on return on investment, the Blair Witch Project cost about $60,000 to make, whereas Paranormal Activity's initial budget was just $15,000. Blair Witch grossed $248.6 million worldwide, which comes out to a 414,233% return on investment. After grossing $65 million, it was calculated that Paranormal Activity made a 433,900% return on investment. Of course, that doesn't factor in on its final worldwide gross of $193 million, which if you works out to a 1,286,560 return on investment. Damn. Number 22. Final Destination is based on an idea for an episode of The X-Files that was never made. Ooh. Number 23. The Blob is based on a supposedly true story. On September 26, 1950, the Philadelphia Inquirer ran an article with the headline, "Flying Saucer Just Dissolves." The night before, police officers John Collins and Joe Keenan swore that they'd watched a mysterious object fall from the sky. Rushing towards the landing site, the men stumbled upon a purple jelly-like mass. Collins and Keenan immediately summoned two of their colleagues, who arrived just in time to watch the material evaporate without a trace. The FBI was contacted, a press conference was held, and the whole mess became a national laughingstock. Fast forward to 1957. That year, producer Jack H. Harris was looking to make a creature feature, but he couldn't come up with a decent premise, so he asked his friend Irvine H. Milgate to try and devise one. It's gotta be a monster movie, Harris explained. It's gotta be in color instead of black and white. It can't be a creepy. It's gotta be a unique monster, never been done before, and the method of killing the monster would have been something that Grandma could have cooked up in her stove. Milgate remembered the Philly incident, and the rest is history. Number 24, Friday the 13th villain. Jason was originally to be named Josh. And I cannot take that seriously. Josh. 25. Tim Burton was in contention to direct Gremlins. There was a lot of buzz surrounding Tim Burton after the success of his short film Frankenweenie, so much so that Steven Spielberg considered him to direct Gremlins. But the fact that Burton had yet to direct a feature film worked against him, and the gig was given to Joe Dante. A year later, Burton released his first theatrical feature, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like, imagine how different Gremlins would have been if Tim Burton had directed it. OMG. Number 26. The Conjuring's Ed and Lorraine Warren were real-life paranormal investigators. Although Lorraine, actually the real her, is in the audience in one of the scenes. 27. Damon originally had a different name in The Omen. Screenwriter David Seltzer planned to name his Antichrist Tomlin after the total obnoxious brat child of a friend, until his wife convinced him that it would be a horrible thing to do to the kid, not to mention the friendship ending. He landed on Damon after Father Damien, who started the first leper colony in the Hawaiian Islands. Number 28. The creature from the Black Lagoon was modeled after the Oscar statuette. What? I don't get why that would be creepy, but okay. Number 29. An actual witch was hired to help make the craft more authentic. To make sure that the depiction of Wicca in the craft was as close to real life as it could be, the filmmakers hired Pat Devin as a consultant. Devin is a member of one of the largest and oldest Wiccan religious organizations in the United States, Covenant of the Goddess, and at the time she was the first officer of the group's Southern California local council. Devin played a big role in the production process and at times worked directly with the actresses. A lot of my suggestions were acted upon, and virtually all of my suggestions were given careful consideration, even if they didn't all end up in the final version of the film. Interesting. Number 30. The name of the demon in The Exorcist is Pazuzu. Though it's never stated in the film, the demon that takes possession of Regan McNeil has a name, and it's Pazuzu, which is taken from the name of the king of demons in Assyrian and Babylonian mythology. So it's P-A-Z-U-Z-U, Pazuzu, I think. I just feel like there's no other way to pronounce that, Pazuzu. You know? It's kind of fun. If you're not asleep yet, try to say it, Pazuzu. It's making me laugh, I'm so sorry. This is no laughing matter. Number 31. Stanley Kubrick allegedly typed all of those all-work pages in The Shining. Allegedly, he typed all 500 pages that said all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Apparently, by hand, like with his own typewriter. He never confirmed nor denied this before his death, so it's an alleged fact, I guess. Number 32. The ending of Psycho was spoiled months before the film's release. Despite Hitchcock's fervent and admirable attempts at keeping the project a secret, both Variety and The Hollywood Reporter published very thorough spoilers regarding the Psycho plot months before the film loved the movie and suggested a new ending that was used in the theatrical version. Number 34, the Candyman, played by Tony Todd, had to put real peas in his mouth in order to film the movie's climax. Now, I've never seen this movie, so I don't really know what that's referring to. But you can count me out on wanting to see that. So, number 35. Drew Barrymore was slated to star in Scream. Barrymore changed her mind about playing the lead 5 weeks before production was set to begin. Barrymore instead suggested she played Casey Becker, the teen terrorized by the killer in the opening scene, to cleverly subvert audiences' expectations that a star of her stature would survive the movie. Casting directors approached Alicia Witt, Brittany Murphy, and Reese Witherspoon to take over the Sidney Prescott role before eventually casting Neve Campbell. I think it's Neve. N-E-V-E, Neve. Not sure. I'm so sorry, Miss Campbell. Number 36. Sissy Spacek was adamant that her own hand appear in Carrie's final scene. Though Brian De Palma wanted to get a stunt person for the final scene where Sue Snow visits Carrie's grave, Spacek insisted that it needed to be her hand that was shown, which required it to be buried in the ground. I laughed about that. Spacek told NPR, "I do all my own foot and hand work and always have." That do be kind of funny, so. Number 37. Buffalo Bill's dance in The Silence of the Lambs was not in the script, but it was there in the original book, and Ted Levine, the actor played the serial killer, Jamie Grum, insisted that the scene be included because it helped explain the demented character better. I didn't know Buffalo Bill was from Silence of the Lambs. I had no idea. Anyway, number 38. Jaws originally ended just like Moby Dick. The original ending in the script had the shark dying of harpoon injuries inflicted by Quentin Brody. But Spielberg thought the movie needed a crowd-pleasing finale and came up with the exploding tank as seen in the final film. The dialogue and foreshadowing of the tank were then dropped in as they shot the movie. Number 39. Hereditary director Ari Aster's favorite scene in the movie is that scene. If you remember just 1 second of Hereditary, it's undoubtedly that unexpected car accident scene that sets the horrifying events of the second half in motion. Hereditary director Ari Aster is well aware of the impact that scene made on his audience, and he loved it. That's probably my favorite sequence in the film. He told Vanity Fair everything that's happening around those 15 minutes. It's probably the best sequence in the film, but favorite maybe isn't the term we'd use. Okay, so if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. I have truly never been more horrified. I have never been more horrified that I love the movie, but I was not expecting it. I watched it with my friend, and she was like this movie gets kind of fucked up, and I was kind of watching it, and I'm like, how is this gonna go from bad to real fucked up? And then it did, and then the car accident happened, and it just feels like such a punch to the gut, ugh. Anyway, if you haven't watched Hereditary, I actually highly recommend, and it is on Netflix. So, yeah, number 40. In Evil Dead 2, you can see Freddy Krueger's glove from Nightmare on Elm Street. It's hanging above the door in the tool shed. Number 41. It took about a year to get the iconic shot in where blood pours out of the elevator in The Shining, right? But only apparently 3 days to film. 42. The original title thought of for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was Head Cheese. Head cheese. Which is disgusting. Head cheese is gross. If you know what that is, it's disgusting. Second of all, why would you want to name a horror movie Head Cheese? That has nothing to do with pigs. Number 43. Stephen King's son Joe plays a little boy in Creepshow. Number 44. In order to film the premonition scene in Final Destination 3, the was filmed at a real camp in New Jersey that is still in operation to this day. Number 48. One of Paul Rudd's first roles was a lead part in the 6th Halloween movie, Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. He was credited then as Paul Stephen Rudd. Oh my god, like imagine like living in a